All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to work on this sheet as well as a separate sheet of paper. So we'll flip back and forth. The very first one says, which of the following has a radius less than 5 inches? And I don't think we're going to do all of these today. So we'll see how far we get and then we'll finish it up tomorrow. And remember, tomorrow is your last day of class, and then you take your exam on Tuesday. Got it? And you have to come to school for that. It is not exemptable. Does everybody understand? Everybody good? All right. There, you should start to see, I haven't put one up yet, especially for you guys, because it doesn't exist for us. But there are exam review sessions after every exam. So you guys will be here on Tuesday. If you want to stay after your exam for a Wednesday exam review, then you can do that. If not, you can go home. It's whatever, as long as you have a ride. But you have to sign up for those exam reviews. You can also do it via Zoom if you can get home in time. Okay, so you don't necessarily have to sit in class, but you do have to sign up for it. If you don't sign up for it and nobody signs up for it, then the teacher will not have it. Does that make sense? So if one person's there, then anybody can be there. It doesn't matter. But make sure you watch for that. And again, for our class, it doesn't happen because we don't have a day before the exam. We have Friday, but we'll already be in here. Does that make sense? All right. If you have any questions about your exams, like what you can exempt, what you can't, let me know. Again, our exam is not exemptable. You have to take it. You have to come to school to take it. And then I will put up what room numbers you will be tested in for tomorrow, so that you guys will be able to see it. And then that way, maybe you can remember over the weekend. I'll try to remember to send you an email on Monday to remind you where to go. But I don't think it's in here. Okay, just throwing that out. I don't know. I just can't remember where you're supposed to go. All right. So number one asks, which of the following has a radius less than 5 inches, and then circle the letter of all that apply. So a couple things that are going on in here that you may not know is, first of all, it's talking about volume, and it's talking about a cylinder and a cone. So there are two different volume formulas. There's really three, but the two that you need to understand are big BH and 1/3 big BH. So what does that mean? The big B is the area of the base. These two formulas work for every 3D figure that you have, okay? So we know that the area of a box is length times width times height. A box is either a square or a rectangle. So the area of a rectangle is length times width, and then you throw the height on there to make it a 3D object. Does everybody see that? So if it's a cylinder like we're talking about down here, what is the base shape of a cylinder? So a can, what's the bottom of a can? A circle, what's the area of a circle? What's that formula? Yeah, area of a circle, just a circle, a regular circle. We've done this multiple times this year. Y'all don't know the area of a circle? Pi r squared. Okay, remember, yeah, write that down. We'll do it in just a second. I'll write it down in just a second, so if you guys are not getting it. So remember that. So a can is pi r squared, and then H gives you your volume. Okay, so those two formulas right there. Now, if it, sorry, y'all. If it has a point, like a pyramid or a cone, which we see a cone in this one, then you just put 1/3 on it. What's the bottom of a cone? A circle. What was the area of a circle? Pi r squared. So your formula for a cone is 1/3 pi r squared H. Okay, so these two formulas work for all of that. The only one that's different is a sphere, and your sphere usually they give you is 4/3 pi r cubed. And I just remember the 2 3s on there, 4/3 pi r cubed. But again, we don't use that formula at all today. I'm just throwing that one out there. But the other two we will use in this problem right here. So I'm going to go to my sheet of paper for a minute, and you guys can keep looking at yours, and that's fine. It says, which of the following has a radius less than 5 inches? So I got to find the radius. a cylindrical can with a volume of 424.12. So if we're talking about a cylinder, we're doing big BH. The bottom is a can. The bottom is a can. The bottom is a circle. So pi r squared is our area. And then we're going to throw the h on there to make it 3D. It tells us that our volume is 424.12. We know that pi is just a regular number. We don't know our r, but it tells us that we have a height of 15. Okay. Everybody good with that? All right, we need to get r by itself. What do we need to get rid of? We need to get this r by itself. What do we need to get rid of? 15 and pi. We're going to do that at the same time. We're going to divide it. Be careful how you put this in your calculator. Again, anytime it's fractions, I use, let me turn it down so you guys can see it. I use alpha y equals and do the fraction here. So 424.12, it should just be 12. I don't know why I put 112. Oh, I'll be glad we don't have to do this next year. And then on the bottom, 15 pi, which gives me this 9.000. You can put as many as you want on there. It doesn't matter. Equals r squared. Then how do I find r? Square root. We already know the square root of 9. R is going to be approximately 3. So that one is less than 5, right? Now, it didn't say find which one. It says circle the letter of all that apply. So I need to go through and do all of them. So the next one is the same thing, except for it has a volume. So I'm going to write it over here of 565.49 pi r squared, but this time has a height of 5 inches. So what do I need to do this time? Divide by that 5 pi. And again, I do alpha y equals 565.49 and then 5 pi, which gives me 36.0002 is equal to r squared. Take the square root. The square root of 36 is 6. So is this one less than 5? No, so B is not going to be one of your answers. So we're going to mark it out. So then it just does the same thing, but it goes to a cone. Okay, so it talks about a cone. So our cone formula is 1/3 big BH because it has a point. A pyramid would be the same way. It says our volume is 201.06. 1/3. Our base of a cone is pi r squared. Our height of this cone is 12. I'm going to go ahead and put that 1/3 and 12 together. Guys, it's just 12 divided by 3. What is 12 divided by 3? 201.06 equals 4 pi r squared. We're solving it the same way. We're going to divide by 4 pi. Again, alpha y equals 201.06. 4 pi gives me 15.999, which is approximately 16. Oh, sorry. I was saying 16 while doing that. It's a square. It's approximately 16. So when I take the square root of this, r is approximately 4 because the square root of 16 is 4. And again, you can do all that in your calculator. Second square root of your answer is 3.999, which is about 4. So is this one less than 5? Yes. So then we got to try D as well. D says a cone with a volume of 254.47 equals 1/3 pi r squared and a height of 12. Same thing, 1/3 times 12 is 4. So 4 pi r squared. We're going to do 254.47 over 4 pi, and we get 20.25. And then we take the square root. 4.5, is that less than 5? Yes. So 3 of the 4 will work. They do like to have questions like this, or where you solve for R and then plug it into something else. Okay, we did one like that where we did volume and surface area. All right. All right, number 2, a company produces bags of chips. The acceptable weight of a bag can be expressed by the absolute value of X minus 250 is less than 0.8, where X is the weight of the bag of chips in grams. Circle the letters of all the statements that are true. So your formula, I'm going to write it down right here, is X minus 250, absolute value, has to be less than or equal to 0.8. So that's the acceptable bags. X is the weight of the bag of chips. So then it says a bag of chips that weighs 251 grams is acceptable. So we're going to plug in 251. What is 251 minus 250? What's the absolute value of 1? 1. Remember, absolute value is always positive. Is 1 less than or equal to 0.8? So we cannot have this bag of chips. That's literally all you're doing the whole time. The difference between the maximum and the minimum acceptable weights is 1.6. This is your max and your min. Does everybody understand that? So it's the absolute value of 1.6 less than or equal to 0.8. Is 1.6 less than or equal to 0.8? No, so it's not B either. So then when we look at C, it says the minimum acceptable weight of a bag of chips is 249.8. So 249.8 minus 250, is that less than or equal to 0.08? When we put that in our calculator, we get the absolute value of negative 0.2. The absolute value is a positive 0.2. Is that less than 0.8? Yes, so C will work. A bag of chips that weighs 249.55, 249.55. Subtract that from 250, and it's got to be less than or equal to 0.8. When we subtract that, we get negative 0.45. When we take the absolute value, we get positive 0.45. Is that a true statement? Yes, 0.45 is less than 0.8. So D is your answer. C and D both work. Any questions? All right. We're going to skip number 3. We're going to look at number 4. You will have another question like number 4, and I will try, I think it's number 6. Yeah, and I'll find it. Okay. So it says a chord with length L is drawn in a circle. Remember that a chord is just a line across the circle. That's it. Which equation will find the smallest distance x from the chord to the center of the circle? If r is the radius of the circle. So remember, the radius goes from the center to the outside. Anytime they give you the chord, you want to connect that and then make a right triangle. I'm going to label this. R is the radius. This full chord is length L. So the full chord is L. And then this is X. The smallest distance X from the chord to the center of the circle. Is everybody good so far? All right. So if this is L, to get this half of the triangle or this leg of the triangle, we would divide it by 2. L divided by 2. Everybody good? All right. To find all of the measures, we do Pythagorean theorem. It'll be x squared. Nope, not r. X squared plus L over 2 squared equals r squared. The reason we do that, your 2 legs equal your hypotenuse squared. It asks us to find the radius of the, I'm sorry, it asks us to find the chord length L. So we're solving for L. So everybody see that? L. So we're going to do x squared plus L squared over 4. When we distribute our square, 2 squared is 4, L squared equals r squared. I want to solve for L, so I'm going to move that x. The way I move it is subtract it. Everybody good? I need to get rid of this 4 so that I can get L by itself. So we're going to multiply everything by 4. We get L squared equals 4 times r squared minus x squared. And then just to get L, we take the square root. When I do this, I'm going to actually take the square root of both parts just to make it a little bit easier for you to look at. We get L equals, what's the square root of 4? 2, and everything else is just under the square root, r squared minus x squared. So if we go back and look, try to get it all up here at the same time. We have L equals 2 square root of r squared minus x squared. So that eliminates A and B because we should have a 2, and then r squared minus x squared would be C. All right, I'm going to skip number 5. We're going to go to number 6. Number 6 is the same thing. It says a chord with a length of C units is drawn in a circle with radius R units. Which equation will find the shortest distance x from the center to the chord? So it looks like this. It tells you that the full length of the chord is C. That means this part is C over 2. We have X and R. This time though, it wants you to solve for X. So we're doing X squared plus C over 2 squared equals R squared. Multiply it out, we get C squared over 4 equals R squared. It asks you to solve for X, so we're going to move the C squared over 4 by subtracting. And then to solve for X, we take the square root. So this one was actually a little easier than the other one. R squared minus C squared over 4. So if you guys look at your answer choices, here's R squared, C squared over 2. Here's C squared over 4. All right. 7, 8, 9, and 10 are all those what kind of sample would you take pretty much? So it says a company wants to conduct a survey of its clients about the product warranty it provides. The company has 8,000 clients. It plans to survey a total of 200 clients. Which method would provide the company with a simple random sample? So something super easy. And remember, I told you a simple random sample is like drawing names out of a hat. Put all the names in, draw a name out of a hat. Got it? So anything that sounds like that. If it's systematic, it's get a list of all the names, start with the 5th name, then pick every 12th name. Does that make sense? Because you put a system in place. All right, so this is just simple. Asking the first 200 clients who order its product on a random day. This is not. This is a convenience. This would not be good because it doesn't represent the population. What does that mean? So product warranty, it provides 200. So let's say these are just people that don't work during the day. Like they can call because they don't have a job. Does that make sense? That doesn't get the people that do work. Or maybe they're older and they don't work at all. All right, so it's not A. B says picking the first 40 clients who ordered its product each day for 5 days. That's the same thing. It's a convenience over 5 days. Part C, numbering all the clients from 1 to 8,000 and using a random number generator to select 200, or starting with the 40th client's account and taking every 20th account until 200 clients have been chosen. So C and D are really good sample methods. The only difference is it asks for a simple one. The simplest one would be numbering all the clients. Like I said, drawing them out of a hat is a simple random sample. Anything that sounds like that. All right. Same thing on the next one, a simple random sample. Suppose a research study is designed to investigate how a room's lighting affects a student's study habits. The study requires selecting 60 students from a university to complete a survey. Which method will most likely generate a simple random sample? Select the first 60 students who enter the library. Randomly identify classes that have 30 students each and select 2 of them. Use an alphabetical listing of all the students at the university and have a random number generator choose 60 students. Use an alphabetical listing of all students at the university and select every 25th student until 60 students are selected. Which one is it? C. Again, D is a systematic. Right. A company wants to learn more about what the customers think about the services it offers. Which procedure is most likely to produce an unbiased sample? Unbiased just means there's nothing that a convenient sample is going to be biased. So like if we got a convenient sample of the first 30 kids that walked in the school, they're probably going to be bus riders. They're not going to be upperclassmen. There are some, but mostly they're going to be underclassmen. So it's a little bit biased. Okay. Looking at reviews about the company on an internet, that would not be good because reviews, people only fill them out if they feel strongly about it. Think about how many surveys that you've seen come across your email that you may not have, you just don't fill out because you're too tired to do it or you don't want to do it. Asking 100 customers from the end of an alphabetized list to complete a phone survey, or surveying a random sample of customers from a list of all customers. Which one? It has to be D. A simple random sample keeps that bias down. All right. Number 10 is the exact same way. A company wants to know what customers think of its newest phone. Which method is most likely to produce an unbiased sample? Selecting the first 100 customers who pre-ordered the phone. Why do you think that that would be bad? What do you think they're going to say? If they pre-ordered it, they already like it, right? If they pre-ordered it, they already like it. Asking people to fill out an online survey from the company's website. Why would that not be good? Yeah, only certain people will fill it out. A lot of people won't fill it out. Surveying people that come into one of its stores, or surveying random customers from a list of all customers who purchased the phone. D. We want to get an overall feel of all the customers, not just 1 or 2. Why would C be bad? Yeah, not all people come to the store. Some shop online, right? So you're missing a whole population of people. All right. Number 11 is not bad. It's just crappy. The graph of the quadratic function. I'm going to do number 11. The graph of a quadratic function has its vertex at 3, 4, 25, 8. The y-intercept is 2. What is the distance in units between the two x-intercepts of the function? So you'll get questions like this. Hopefully they will not have all these fractions in them, because that makes you, like, it turns you off from doing the problem. Okay, immediately when you guys see fractions, you're like, but it's not a hard problem. It's just long. All right. So if it's a quadratic function, we had something like this if it were vertex form. It says that the y-intercept is 2. So you have your vertex. Okay. Remember, with our vertex, when we put it inside of parentheses, we change the sign. So it will be a negative 3/4 squared. And then your k is going to stay the same. So plus 25/8. And then it gives you one more thing. It tells you that the y-intercept is 2. What that also tells you is that when x is 0, y is 2, so that you can find a. That's all this is. Okay, so you can find a. So I'm going to plug it in. Y is 2. I don't know a. 0 minus 3/4 squared plus 25/8. I'm going to clean this up right here. 3/4 squared is 9/16. Square the top. 3 times 3 is 9. Square the bottom. 4 times 4 is 16. So 9/16 a plus 25/8. And remember, you have your calculator, so you can do all that in your calculator. So how would I solve this for a? What do I have to do? So I'm going to take 2 and subtract that 25/8. And the reason I did it with alpha y equals is so that it'll give me a fraction when we finish if I need it. Negative 9/8. So we get negative 9/8 equals 9/16a. To solve, you can divide by 9/16, and that is perfectly fine because your calculator will do that. But again, I would do alpha y equals, and on the top, I would have negative 9/8, and on the bottom, I would have 9/16. Everybody got it? So that way I don't have to do any hard work. And I get a equals -2. All right, so that is not your answer. All that does is give you your equation so that you can find the two x-intercepts. The two x-intercepts. So then I'm going to go into y equals, and I'm going to put this in. X minus, again, I'm going to use alpha y equals just so you guys can see it a little bit better, plus 25/8. Okay, so this is my equation. Do you see any x-intercepts? No. So what's the answer? What if it were something like that? Now, did it say that it was a positive or a negative? Did it? You guys see how this doesn't have an x-intercept? So if I do this, we're just talking, don't stress out. We're just talking. If I do this, do I still have the same vertex? Do I still have the same y-intercept? But now I have what? I have my two x-intercepts on. Does everybody see that? So it didn't tell us that it was upside down, but if you're trying to find the distance between them, it's got to be upside down because otherwise there's not any x-intercepts. All right, so let's check these out. I went ahead and put, or I'm going to go ahead and put a 0 in there. If you're using Desmos, remember you can just go click on it and it'll tell you where it's at. But this calculator, like I said, you have to do multiple steps. Second trace intersect. I'm going to try this one, see where it's at. It's at -1/2. Okay. I'm going to do your other one, second trace intersect. Looks like it's at 2. I'm going to check that out and make sure it's right. It is at 2. How far apart are those 2 dots? How far apart? Say it again. 2.5, right? So 2.5 units. That's it. And I just made a number line so that you guys could visually see it. Number 12 is super easy. There is no work to number 12 at all. It says identify the type of study that best describes the scenario. A survey means that you're asking a bunch of questions. An observation means that you're watching, you're observing. An experiment means that you're imposing a treatment. That's something that you might not know. To do an experiment, something has to be given to the subject. Okay, so if you're doing a drug experiment, they have to be given the drug. All right. A student participating in a school science fair wants to determine whether a flower will grow faster in direct sunlight. She randomly assigned half of the plants to receive direct sunlight and the other half to a dimly lit room, and the growth of each plant is tracked for 6 weeks. Why? What did she do to the plant? Yeah, she treated it, right? She treated it with sunlight or she treated it with the shade. Everybody got it? So this one actually is an experiment. And if you get lost and you're not sure, then check the other ones and see if you can eliminate some. Does that make sense? Go to the next one and check it out. A local toy store conducts an investigation to determine whether right-handed people can assemble a 25-piece puzzle quicker than left-handed people. The puzzle is left out for customers to play with. When a customer plays with a puzzle, the customer's handedness and time to complete the puzzle are recorded. So what is the person doing? They're creeping them, right? They're just watching them. So that's an observation, okay? And then the last one, a principal questions a random sample of 100 students walking through the halls to determine the average number of hours of sleep a student gets each night. He's just asking them questions, right? That's a survey. So even if you could get the other 2, you would figure out that the last one is an experiment, okay? So just know that an experiment imposes some kind of treatment. For the flower, she assigned half to receive direct sunlight, the other half got dark. So they each got something. All right. 13, 14, we're going to skip, look at 15. Look at 15. This one's really simple. Remember your shifts, and it even tells you them right here. 3 over x is shifted 7 units to the right. Remember, right and left are x's, and we change the sign when we put them in the equation. And then up is an end, positive or negative. Up is positive, negative is down. So f of x equals 3 over x. If we want to shift 7 units to the right, that's an add 7, but when we put it in our equation, what do we do? Minus 7, right? And then it says 4 units up, so we add to the end. You need to know your transformations, okay? If you don't know those, you need to go back to them. It says, what is the value of h plus k? H plus k, be careful on this one. See how it has a positive h? So this would be plus -7, so your h is -7. Your k is 4. Would make -3. Watch those signs. We've already had a couple like that. Here's some more. A school wants to find out which new lunch choice its students prefer. which is most likely to obtain a statistically unbiased sample. Statistically unbiased sample. Surveying a random sample of students from a list of students. Inviting all students to indicate their choice with a text message. Placing suggestion boxes at random locations in the school. Assembling a group with one male and one female student from each grade and recording the preferences of those students. Which one? It's got to be A. Why is it A? Why is it A? I get D. D because you get one male and one female from each grade, but is one person enough of a sample to figure something out? No, no. How would you like to feel if one person decided everything that you did next year? So we asked one person and they said that they wanted the bathrooms locked all day. Would that make everybody happy? No. You see what I'm saying? So we can't just pick from one person, we got to pick from multiple. All right. Let's see. Skip 17, skip 18 for right now. We're going to do those tomorrow. Don't stress about them. Look at 20. It's an easy one. 20 is another divide. How do we divide these? Synthetic. Backwards L. If you say that, I get it. It's all good. What goes in there? A -2. Across. Be careful on this one. See how it goes from x to the third to just x? We skipped x squared, so we got to put a 0 in there. So 1x cubed, no x squared, -13x's, and a -15. And it's just looking for the remainder. So we're going to finish it out, and whatever number's on the end is the one that we're going to choose. We bring down the 1 times -2 is -2. Add those up. We get -2. -2 times -2 is +4. When I add those, I get -9 times -2 is +18. Add those up, and I get 3. Real simple question. I'm gonna hold off on 21 for tomorrow. Sorry, y'all. 22 is easy. It's also shifts. We have left 3 and up 2. So if we're going left, that's a -3, but when I put it inside, I change the sign. Remember, if I put it in or take it out, I change the sign. Up 2 is a +2, and that just goes on the end. So our final answer is B. I'm going to do one more, and then I'll save the rest for tomorrow. Okay, one more, and I'll save the rest for tomorrow. So we're going to do 24. It says, what are the zeros? This means what are the solutions? Guys, you can do this on your, I'd rather you do it on Desmos. I'm going to do it on this calculator just because I don't have it pulled up, and I haven't done a lot of examples on here. If you see I's like number 19, I can't do that on Desmos or on my calculator. So that one's going to be worked out a little bit more. So everybody understand that. But if I see regular numbers, I can surely do that on Desmos or a regular calculator. So 2x squared plus x minus 1. I'm going to go ahead and keep the 0 over there because it is zeros. I'm going to graph. We know it's not anything -3 or +3, so it's one of these. It's not +1. It looks like -1. I just want to check it. Second trace intersect. Go to this side, enter, enter, enter. And you see that it is -1. So the answer has to be B. I'll show you the other one as well. Second trace intersects. And I get 0.5. So that's 1. So very good. All right, hang on just a minute. Don't go anywhere. I want to show you this one on Desmos so you guys can see it. Again, we can just put that in. I told you to do y equals 2x to the second. Make sure you guys are trying to practice put these in so you don't get lost or don't understand how not to put it in. And then it just shows you your dots. So Desmos is way, way easier than the calculator when you're trying to find zeros. You don't even have to put the zero part in. Does that make sense? So again, calculator, that's why I don't like to show you a lot on the calculator. And this is the one that the EOC has incorporated into it. So very good. Let me see if I see, let me go back. If you're looking at like number 22, where it's asking about the shifts, remember you can put those in. I'm just going to show you these really quick. We've got time. It's not like we're doing anything else. And then it says a shift to the left and up to. If you wanted to put in like answer choice A, because you can't remember your shift, you can do that and you can see that it went down. It didn't go up. So we're not doing that answer. Does that make sense? So I just put in A into the second part to see what happened. We had B, which was +3 and +2. So it said went to the left 3. You can see that the green one is over to the left, and then it did go up 2. It's real simple. So please, please, please use that Desmos as much as you can. 21 is a Desmos question. We'll get that pretty much. Quite a few of them are that we have left. Okay. Any questions on that? I'm going to stop sharing, stop